Hello, entrepreneurs. Joe DeChara coming to you once again live from downtown Flushing, New York, with another amazing episode of How to Win at Business. And if you're watching live, please give me a hashtag live. If you're watching the replay, give me a hashtag replay. If you don't know me, I am a CPA entrepreneur-aholic. I can't get enough of talking, learning, teaching everything I can about starting, building, and managing a very, very small business. And one of my epiphanies recently was the fact that that's really my sweet spot. The brand new business owner, the solopreneur. A lot of people out there like working with businesses, like people that have employees and are growing. And I enjoy that. I love helping businesses grow, but the fact is that I'm not really an expert on growing a business. And unfortunately, I just went through a hiring process. I've hired two new full-time VAs. And as I went through that, I asked everyone, what do I do? And almost all of them said that I help businesses grow. So we're working on the messaging there. But the truth is that what I do really is just I help people get on track and stay on track. It's complicated. I was in a mastermind meeting today. I'm in Craig Duswalt's Rock Your Life Mastermind, and there were over 20 of us in there, and it was all, one of the questions was just give me the steps. Give me the steps to starting and running my business. And there's a lot of steps. There's a lot of moving parts. It's complicated. So all I've done for the bulk of my career my time was spent getting people on track, fixing problems. And that's where I got a lot of my IRS auditing experience. Yeah, there were, thousands of cases that I've worked on where people just got into trouble for some reason or another. And then, starting the business. So you got the people that are in business and already, figured out, my ice cream truck story, that it's not really that simple. It's not that easy. There's a lot of moving parts, and we don't know what we don't know. And even the things that we know, we forget. Because just like in today in the mastermind meeting, people are asking questions, and like when I ask a question and then I get the feedback, I'm like, but wait, I know this. But we just don't recognize it. Maybe because we're too, far into the details of it, and we need somebody else to take a look at it. As far as growing a business, my personal experience has been that it's been almost impossible to grow my business. I created a very, very highly profitable accounting practice, but I never had a big practice, and that was always by design. And a big part of it was because I lacked the experience and the knowledge on how to properly hire people. And, little did I know, I kept hiring myself. So if you want to grow a business, you go to people that have grown businesses. If you want to get on track, then I might be the kind of guy that you want to talk to. And so that's who I am. That's what I do. Again, I can't see if you are chatting here. I don't know who you are. I don't know how that works. There's some kind of instruction in StreamYard where you can put your name, or you could just remain anonymous, which is fine. After the training, what I do is I usually go back to the different places I broadcast, just in case somebody had a question or wanted to follow up with me on something. So if you are one of those people, put your info in the chat, and I always, for as long as I can for now, go back and respond to questions. And so tonight I'm going to cover, again, another part in the series of reducing your taxes, which, again, as everybody wants to cut their taxes. It's one of those, like, why even ask? Hey, do you want to save money on your taxes? It's not even a question. And if you don't want to save money on your taxes, then that's fine. And don't waste your time watching this. But as I'm putting the information together, I realize that there is no, on this day, we're going to do this to cut our taxes. That very rarely happens. You don't just, pick a day or so. Cutting your taxes is really a process, and it's a process that starts with being on top of your business. And the way that you do that is you do it with intention, no matter how scared you are, how much you're afraid of looking at the numbers. And because if you can't get over that, I don't know what to tell you. I probably couldn't help you, because what I'm going to do is I'm going to take you through the process. And so let me just go off the top of my head the process, because I've done it probably more times than I can count. First thing you do is you start with your last 2 years worth of tax returns. Okay, so right now I got 2 new clients today. I asked them 18 and 19. And what I'm going to do, and what anyone can do, is you just put them side by side and you look at the numbers, revenue and expenses. Okay, so you get some kind of idea about what's actually on your tax return. I'm wondering how many people never even actually look at their tax return. Because in my experience, even, the last big client that I just fired, the guy was doing millions of dollars in business, very, very successful, did not know how to read his financial statements. Did not know what a balance sheet was, and had no interest in it. I tried teaching him. And so somebody like him, so he's like an anomaly. People will look at a guy like him with a nice sized construction company that's doing a lot of business. But the truth is that he could have been 10 times more successful had he educated himself on some of these simple, fundamental areas and I don't care if you're a $10 million construction company or you're just starting to with your consulting practice. Because guess what? If you're, he could be a sole proprietor or he could be a corporation, and there's only a couple of categories he can be classified in as a $10 million business. Well, guess what? When you start your little consulting business, you're filing on the same exact tax form as the big business. It goes to the same place. The numbers just might be bigger. There might be more of them, but it would have been easy for him to learn this stuff before I had to rescue his business, because he was on the verge of bankruptcy. He was out of cash. They had plenty of business. Okay, think about this. He's doing at that time about $3 million a year in business, but he couldn't pay his bills. They weren't on top of their accounts receivable. They had people that owed them money for years. That was simple, that he didn't understand. He got into hot water, a lot of hot water with bad accounting advice because he didn't know how to read his tax returns. Some people overcome those kinds of things, but they are few and far between. And sometimes I get the impression that, people could see him. Oh, James is in the construction business. Look at him. He's so successful. But they don't know the real story. They don't know all the details. And guys like James are like 1 out of a million. 1 out of a million. When you look at all the people that start businesses, a very small percentage ever even hire an employee. So forget about growing your business. I am interested in helping people get on track and then stay on track. And so the way you do that is you become aware of, your tax returns. You look at them. Okay. Then you got to think about, okay, how are all these numbers coming? Where are they coming from? They're coming from your accounts. They are coming from the platforms that you transact business in. Bank accounts, credit cards, PayPal. So you got to get a handle on all of your accounts. And like I said in the past, business, in the olden days when I started, a guy usually had a bank account, a checking account, and that was the account. It was simple. Now you got, 18 zillion ways to do business with people. Now you got cryptocurrency. I think I mentioned that the other day. It's like fake money. Anyway, you got to get a handle on where are you doing business. Number 3, you have to compile. You got to get all of the transactions. You got to compile them. Okay, so now you got all of this stuff. You throw it in a bag, right? And you bring it to your accountant. Here's my receipt. No, that's not how you do it. That's not how you do it right. Once you have all your accounts and your transactions, now you compile your transactions, you reconcile them. You make sure that the numbers that you're putting in your books correspond to the bank or the credit card or PayPal, whatever those balances are. Now, this is huge and something that most people, even including idiot accountants that take shortcuts. Okay, so if you're one of those CPAs, tax preparers, and you're taking your client's garbage without reconciling the accounts, you're not helping anybody. So we reconcile everything. That's number 4. Tonight, what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you step 5, which, let me see if I could share my screen without. Yes. Okay. So here is the basic chart of accounts. And so I'm going to make this larger. So and this is bookkeeping 101, folks. This isn't rocket science. Again, all of these accounts are basically, this is what's listed on your tax return. And the chart of accounts, so we start out with a basic chart of accounts so we standardize everything, which actually helps you save time and money. So most of our clients have, now this was from a QuickBooks chart of accounts. So this has numbers and descriptions, categories. Now I'm using Wave, so it's a little bit, we don't need numbers. It's just because it's simple. Okay, when I was using QuickBooks for larger companies, we would need a lot of different accounts and sub accounts and stuff like that. So now and so even this now is shorter than what we actually use. We only use what we actually need. And so a lot of businesses, small businesses, you might not even have accounts receivable. These are assets. And now so what you need to do is, and this will be in a step later, but we're going to match all of these categories up with where they go on your tax returns. So these are your balance sheet accounts. Then you have your accounts payable, which for most solopreneurs, most new business owners, is really only, you might have a couple of credit cards and a bank account. And that's all that really matters for the bulk of businesses. Again, one of the reasons why people fail is because they overcomplicate everything. So we're going to take the basic chart of accounts, and then we're going to focus in on what we really need to know, which is your revenue. That's your income that's going to go on your tax return. If you're in like a construction business or a retail or wholesale where you buy and sell products, you might have a cost of goods sold. And then it's very simple. You have your expenses. Now, if you're getting the gist of this and why I finally came to the conclusion that it's not really tax planning, it's just planning. We are accounting for your business in real time. And these are some of the concepts that I want to bring forward to people. That if you're one of those people doing your return on an Excel spreadsheet in March, then you want to listen to this. You want to use my system. Because that is no way to run a business. I don't care if it's a little side hustle. Okay, and it's the same thing. A lot of people make these arbitrary decisions that, I don't have any revenue. I don't have to. It's not that important. It is important. If you sign a tax return, everything you do is important. Everything you do in your business is going to affect that tax return. So isn't it logical to know where you are at all times? I don't know about you, but I wouldn't be able to sleep if I didn't know. If I was worried about, how do I know that idiot accountant isn't going to give me a $20,000 tax bill? You don't want the unknowns, and that's what we avoid, and it's avoidable. It's simple. So that's my story, folks. I'm sticking with it. God bless. I will be back again tomorrow with another episode of Joe DiChiara Presents How to Win at Business. And P.S., if I didn't mention it, go to Sudoku.com. Sudoku.com, my mom's Etsy store where she is hand knitting masks and really cool stuff for Christmas and Thanksgiving. So support mom, go to Sudoku.com. Thank you. Good night.